Hi guys, and welcome to the Sunderland vs Swansea match review. So Sunderland have just been beat by 2-1 against Swansea. I'd like to firstly thank all of you guys who did watch the live stream, the live reaction. I tried to keep it as positive as possible despite the shite that was happening on the pitch for a large portion. But getting into the game, Dodds did go with a brave decision. He changed the system totally and entirely. He did go for the sort of three at the back with two wing-backs. We had Hjelde, we had O'Nien and Seal as a back three, and then we had Trey Hume as right wing-back. We had Styles making his debut on the left-hand side, and then we had Dhannoo and Ekwa in the middle, and then it actually looked as though it was Abdullah Bar and Roosing up top with Job in behind, but although that did kind of chop and change as the game went on. However, what I did find immediately, and I think what everyone found immediately, is with that back three, the full-backs, in particular on Trey Hume's side, well, on both sides, there was just acres of space. I don't know whether the lads... Of course, this is a new system for the lads. I always thought there was going to be teething issues. However, we did use this system under Dodds against Leeds. And if anything was going to be taken away from that performance, it was going to be how defensively resolute we were. And we went to a flat five defensively. And we were so solid and impossible to break down. And then we were really patient. And then we chose our opportunities to go forward as and when needed. And we allowed Leeds possession. But when we did see the chances, we did pull our players forwards, being our wing-backs and what have you. But I felt like on both wings, there were just gaping holes everywhere. The lads didn't know whether to be in the midfield, didn't know whether to be too deep or push far forward. So literally you beat our one line and the gaps in between the lines were just horrendous. There was gaps all over the shot and it was a shit show the opening sort of 25 minutes or so. The first goal, and again, and if you saw them in the live stream, of course, defensively we were absolutely all over the shot anyway. How on earth the ball's been put in totally unchallenged and it managed to find its way through to the lad who gets the head on it, totally unmarked, 7, 8 yards, but he heads it straight at Pato, straight at him, and for what, the fourth, fifth game in a row, whatever it is, fourth or fifth goal, we've seen where the ball was put at Pato, and I keep saying this in the live stream, if you aren't comfortable in holding the ball, despite the ball not going at a great pace, if you aren't comfortable with holding it, at the very least, Sunday League goalkeeping, Sunday League rules that you tell your young lads, in between the sticks, push it away from danger, at the very least. And this lad is absolutely hell-bent and pushing the ball directly into danger every time the ball gets hit at him. He was let off another 3 or 4 times in the opening 25 minutes when the ball was hit straight at him, and it's flapping at it, and it's pushing it straight into danger. It is literally Sunday League goalkeeping at best. And of course the rebound is knocked in to make it 1-0. And the second goal ain't much better. Pato couldn't do too much about it, but defensively absolutely all over the shot. No one understood the system for me, and we just didn't look threatening one way and defensively all over the place on the other side. And only towards, and I need to give Dodds credit, and which I do appreciate, because I think on paper, a lot of people I saw on social media would be lying if we said we didn't get excited, because it looked very attacking. It looked like we had 2 up top. But sadly, the lads didn't understand the system for me. But to Dodds' credit, he changed it. After about 35 minutes, 40 minutes, he changed it and went to a flat 4 at the back, and we changed the system, and it looked a lot more comfortable. We looked, at the back, we weren't all over the shot, and we looked like we knew what we were doing. And we managed to carve out a couple of half chances. Second half comes out, and we do look a lot more assured. And what I found that was frustrating, because they had a decent press on them, Swansea. They had a good press, and that Ronald for them, or Ronald, however you want to pronounce it, he was very impressive for me. But what I found was they gave a high press, a good press, but all we had to do was match the tempo of their press, which we only started to do moderately in that second half. And then when we do meet their press with the same amount of tempo, it's literally 1-2 passes and you've beat the press, and we've got acres of space to play with. And that's but we just weren't doing that in the first half and in portions of the second. But what we did, as soon as we started to press them in that second half, all they had was pump it forward. Almost the entirety of that second half, as soon as we showed a bit of a press, they just pumped it forward, and half the time it went straight through for a goal kick, or straight way through to our back line. And that was all they had. Because that second half we didn't press, and we allowed them all the time in the world, because no one knew, like on each wing back, Styles was okay, but that's a Hume as well on the other side, both of them. They didn't know whether to close the ball down or drop back, because there was always acres of space behind him, because you have the compact back three and they had so much space behind him that Hume would think, okay, I'll go for it, but then if I do commit to this challenge, I've got acres of space behind me, so I won't, so I'll leave him. And they would just allow them all the time in the world, where in the second half we didn't have that sort of sort of lack of assurance. So we would put a press on them, and all they did was pump it forward to us. And we looked desperate to make it 2-1. And eventually, we did. With a free kick, Ekwa puts it towards the back post. Luke O'Nien, Smiler, arrives late, nods it in to make it 2-1. And what was baffling for that one, we were really putting a shift in to try and make something happen. But then I felt like as soon as we made it 2-1, it was as if the lads thought a job done. And we did. We dropped our tempo considerably, and the game just slowly ran its course and ran its way out. Mundell came on, Rusing come off. We saw Hamir eventually come on. I'd like to see him earlier. Rig come on as well, although Rig was put in as a winger as such on the right hand side. And we did throw the dice at it with Adil Ashish coming on very late on for the last sort of 5 minutes as well. We did see really ring the changes, and I like to see it weren't like it was just all last minute with 1 minute to go. It was making changes early doors, and I did appreciate that as well for Dodds. But it just didn't work. It didn't work. I think it was just our downfall, the system in the first half, with the first half an hour where we just collapsed. We're not used to it. We've done it once this season. It worked wonders. This time it was an absolute shit show, unfortunately. But, we're trying to work the way. I said this on the stream as well. Like, we're roosing up top. He works his socks off, that lad. All of his play out of the box, which is, of course, not where we want to see him. He works his socks off with the press. He's constantly making runs in behind and offering for it. Half the time he didn't get it. But then when he does get it, he's very sort of panicked on the ball. He's very panicked. There's several times when he got it on the wing, he gets the ball and it's almost like shit, I've got the ball, I need to do something. And he'll just put it in the box with no real aim for it. He won't get his head up. And he'll either drill it at the first man or to no one. And that's a little bit of a frustration with me. He makes the run, but when he gets it, he's so panicked on the ball. Complete opposite with Job, where Job was getting it, it was like he had all the time in the world. He got the ball nicked off him. I felt like when we were on the break, a lot of time Job would break our own play down because he'd slow the play and it just allowed them to get back. And just a lot of things didn't quite go well. But I feel like now with Dodds at the helm, at least for the time being, we've got someone who is willing to make risks, willing to take chances. And of course today it didn't pay off. But I will give it to him for being brave, because none of us could have really predicted how poorly defensive that was going to go, but it did, and it'll be interesting to see what he says with that. I feel like next time out he will make changes. Styles for me, of course, it was his debut, and I think in bits and pieces he looks okay. He looks tidy on the ball. Doesn't have too much pace to him. It doesn't seem, but he does look very calm and assured on the ball. But yeah, it's one of them. 2-1. It's a poor performance in that first half has really let us down, and I think on another day if we did start at the 4 at the back we might have had our heads up and gone for it, but it wasn't good enough. I'm not going to say it. I've already seen a couple of people scream for like Dodds' head and shit like that, and I'm just trying to remain positive for everyone here at the moment. Just keep the faith. We'll get there. We will get there eventually. It's not the end of the world. It's shit. For me, I said even before the game, it's not like, it's a strange one because it's not like I'm sat here saying that the season's over totally. Playoffs aren't a million miles away. It only takes a streak of wins and other things to fall into place around us for us to jump into that top 6. There were some mad results today, but I just feel like the sort of the pressure has been lifted somewhat because Dodds is in charge now. There isn't all that pressure on a manager who we know who's going to be here for the long term at least. But just give him time, and it's just interesting to see what Dodds will do. Dodds will get these lads going again. Of course, it was always difficult with the likes of Ballard not being there and Clark, and it's frightening to see how far away off we are when Clark isn't in the side. And hopefully he will be back next time out. But yeah, so that's it, guys. It was a frustrating one. There were some little minor positives glimmered in there, but yeah, largely a negative for that terrible opening. Probably the worst sort of opening 30 minutes I'd seen in a long time. But it happens. It took a gamble. Unfortunately, it didn't pay off. But yeah, it's 2-1, guys. What do you guys think? Let me know in the comments down below. Keep the faith. Hit the like button for me. Take care. Subscribe to the channel. Stay jammy.